There's thus a strange paradox about time. We act as if it is infinite, yet live as if it is already gone. We promise ourselves we'll get around to it. The book we want to write, the language we want to learn, the friend we want to visit. But the weeks pass, the months slide into years, and one day we realize the someday we've been waiting for never arrives. Seneca, the Stoic philosopher of ancient Rome, saw this clearly almost 2,000 years ago. In his letter on the shortness of life, he wrote, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste much of it." For Seneca, time was not just a resource, it was life itself. To waste time was not a harmless habit, it was a form of quiet self destruction, and yet almost no one treats it with the urgency, respect, and tenderness it deserves. We guard our money more fiercely than our minutes, even though money can be regained, but time only flows in one direction. Today, in an age of endless distractions, this truth has never been more urgent. We are pulled in 1,000 directions, notifications, obligations, the invisible pressure to do more until the day ends and we wonder where it went. And if we are honest, many of us are not living our days. We are simply spending them without intention. But Seneca's Stoicism offers a different way, not a cold, rigid schedule, but a philosophy, a way of thinking about time that turns every hour into something precious, deliberate, and alive. In this video, we'll explore 6 Stoic and philosophical insights that can help you reclaim your time, and in doing so, reclaim your life. These aren't abstract theories. They are practical, lived truths, the kind of wisdom that can rewire how you see your day, your priorities, and even your mortality. Because if we can learn to manage our time as Seneca teaches, we won't just have more of it, we will finally live the life we've been postponing. Imagine a stranger walking up to you and asking for a handful of cash. Not a loan, just a gift. Most of us would hesitate, maybe laugh, and firmly refuse. And yet, when people ask for something far more valuable, a slice of our time, we often give it away without a second thought. Seneca saw this as one of humanity's strangest contradictions. In On the Shortness of Life, he observed, "People are frugal in guarding their personal property, but as soon as it comes to squandering time, they are most wasteful of the one thing in which it is right to be stingy." For him, time was the only true currency, and yet it was the one we spent with the least care. We let it slip away in endless meetings, idle conversations, scrolling through things we'll forget in minutes. And unlike money, which can be earned back, time flows only in one direction. Every moment given is a moment gone. Think of your life as a bank account. Every morning, without fail, 86,400 seconds are deposited into it. You cannot save them for tomorrow. You cannot ask for more. The only choice you have is how to spend them. And yet, many of us let others, bosses, acquaintances, even strangers online, withdraw from our account without ever asking ourselves if the expense is worth it. Philosophically, guarding your time is not about becoming selfish, it's about becoming deliberate. It's deciding which requests, invitations, and distractions truly align with your values, and which ones quietly erode the life you want to live. Practically, this means learning to pause before saying yes. It means scheduling time for yourself first before filling your calendar with commitments for others. It means asking, if I give this hour away, will I look back and see it as well spent? Seneca would say that when you guard your time, you are not depriving the world, you are enriching it, because a person who owns their hours fully can give more generously, more wisely, and with far greater presence. So the first step to mastering time is simple but not easy. Treat each hour as if your life depended on it, because it does. The ancient Stoics carried with them a quiet, unsettling reminder, Memento Mori, and remember you must die. To the modern ear, it sounds morbid, but for the Stoics, it wasn't a call to despair, it was a call to live. Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher emperor, wrote in his Meditations, "You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think." He didn't mean you should quit your job, spend all your savings, and live recklessly. He meant that the awareness of life's fragility should sharpen your attention to what truly matters. When you understand that tomorrow is not promised, you stop treating your days like something disposable. And yet, there's a second half to this wisdom, one that prevents it from becoming frantic or short sighted. Live as if you could die tomorrow, but plan as if you'll live forever. Seneca himself embodied this paradox. He urged urgency in how we live each day, but also the discipline to prepare for the long game, to plant seeds you may never see grow, to build structures of meaning that outlast your own life. The Stoics saw no contradiction here. Urgency without long term vision is chaos. Long term vision without urgency is procrastination. In practice, this means that each day should hold two truths at once. If today were your last, would you be proud of how you spent it? If you live to be 100, would today's actions still make sense? One guards you against wasting time in trivialities. The other keeps you from burning out in a frenzy of now or never. It is in this balance that time management becomes more than scheduling. It becomes art, the art of living fully now without abandoning the architecture of a meaningful future. So before you fill your calendar, pause. Ask, if this were my last day, would I choose this? And also, if I had 1,000 more, would I still choose this? When your life honors both answers, you are living as the Stoics intended, fully awake to the present, yet steady in the river of time. There's this a quiet truth about time that most people never face. If you don't learn to say no, your life will be lived according to other people's priorities, not your own. Epictetus, the former slave turned Stoic teacher, understood this deeply. He reminded his students that freedom is not about doing whatever you want, it's about not being forced into what you don't want. And often, the greatest chains are invisible. The obligations we accept out of politeness, fear of judgment, or the reflexive habit of saying yes. We've all felt it, that sinking heaviness when you agree to something you don't truly want to do, a dinner you're not looking forward to, a project you don't believe in, an errand that eats your day. You tell yourself it's just this once, but just once has a way of multiplying until your life feels less like your own and more like an endless repayment of unspoken debts. From a Stoic perspective, each yes is a trade. You're exchanging your irreplaceable hours for an outcome. Sometimes that trade is worth it. Helping a friend in crisis, investing in a skill, making a memory with someone you love. But far too often we trade out of guilt rather than choice. Modern psychology echoes this. Boundary research shows that when you constantly override your own needs to meet others' expectations, you breed quiet resentment, and that resentment poisons relationships far more than a firm but respectful no ever could. The discipline, then, is learning to say no without anger, without apology, and without a lengthy defense. A simple, I appreciate the offer, but I can't commit right now is enough. Seneca would urge you to remember every yes is also a no to something else. If you say yes to the trivial, you are inevitably saying no to the essential. The guilt fades, the clarity remains, and over time, people stop being surprised when you protect your hours. They begin to respect it. If you are deliberate with your time, your yes will become a rare and precious thing, and when you do give it, it will mean something. In the marketplace of ancient Athens, Aristotle would often walk with his students, pointing to the chaos of voices, colors, and goods on display. The scene was vibrant, even overwhelming, a thousand things demanding attention at once. His lesson was simple: not everything that asks for your attention deserves it. Centuries later, this principle remains at the heart of both philosophy and effective time management. Seneca, too, warned against scattering one's efforts, comparing it to a traveler wandering endlessly without ever arriving anywhere. The Stoics understood that life has a center, a telos or purpose, and that the more we drift from that center, the more our days dissolve into noise. Today, the marketplace is no longer a physical square. It sits in your pocket, on your desk, in the endless digital feed. The demands are relentless. Reply to this email, watch this video, read this breaking news, comment on this post. Every single one whispers, this matters right now. But the truth? Most of it does instead. Modern psychology calls this the Pareto principle, the idea that roughly 80% of results come from 20% of efforts. In life terms, it means that only a small fraction of what you do truly shapes the direction and quality of your life. The rest is clutter. To focus on the essential few, you must first know what they are. Which activities actually move me toward my values and goals? Which moments leave me feeling most alive, most aligned? Which tasks, if removed, would change almost nothing in the long run? Once you know, the work is twofold. Protect the essentials, schedule them, honor them, and defend them from intrusion. Deliberately neglect the trivial. Let emails go unanswered. Decline low value meetings. Skip the shallow obligations that only consume without giving back. Aristotle would say that to live well is not to do more, but to do what matters most. Seneca would add that the greatest tragedy is not that life is short, but that we waste so much of it on what does not count. If you can clear the noise and pour your energy into the few things that truly matter, you won't just manage your time, you'll transform it into a life of substance. Every morning, Seneca would rise before dawn, light his lamp, and sit in stillness, not rushing into the day, but opening it with thought. This was not wasted time, it was the foundation for everything that followed. The Stoics believed philosophy was not something to be studied in rare moments, but something to be lived in the small, recurring patterns of life. They understood that routine shapes character, and that what we do repeatedly is in essence who we become. But here is where modern life often goes wrong. We see routine as mechanical, a set of chores to be completed. We treat mornings like obstacles to get through, commutes like dead space, evenings like a countdown until sleep. What if instead we treated these repeated moments as rituals, intentional, meaningful acts that anchor us in the present and remind us of who we want to be? The difference is subtle but profound. Routine says, I make coffee. Ritual says, I pause, breathe in the warmth, and welcome the day. Routine says, I walk to work. Ritual says, I use this walk to observe the world, to think, to prepare my mind. Psychology supports this shift. Studies show that even small symbolic acts, like lighting a candle before starting work or taking a moment of gratitude before a meal, can reduce stress, heighten focus, and deepen enjoyment. Seneca would say that when we turn routine into ritual, we stop living life on autopilot. We reclaim time not by adding more hours, but by filling the ones we have with presence. A mindful minute can hold more life than an entire distracted hour. So choose one moment in your day, your morning coffee, your evening walk, the act of closing your laptop, and give it a purpose. Let it become a signal to yourself: I am here. I am alive. I am not rushing past my own life. When the ordinary becomes sacred, time stops being something you manage and becomes something you inhabit. Seneca wrote with a clarity that cuts through centuries. We are always complaining that our days are few and acting as though there would be no end of them. The past is fixed, unchangeable, untouchable. The future is uncertain, a promise that may never be kept. The only thing that ever truly belongs to you is the present moment, and yet it is the one we are most willing to abandon. We abandon it when we replay old conversations, nursing regrets we cannot undo. We abandon it when we live in anxious rehearsal for events that may never happen. We abandon it when we treat the present as nothing more than a stepping stone to some imagined real life that's always ahead of us. But here's the paradox: when you live only for the future, you arrive there empty handed, because the future always arrives as now. The Stoics trained themselves to return again and again to the present. Marcus Aurelius wrote, confine yourself to the present. This wasn't an excuse for carelessness. It was a recognition that every act, every choice, every relationship can only be lived here. And if you miss it, you don't get a second chance. Modern neuroscience reinforces this truth. Mindfulness research shows that our minds naturally wander about half the time, but those who train themselves to anchor in the present report higher well being, deeper relationships, and a greater sense of meaning. Owning the present is not about ignoring the past or avoiding the future. It's about recognizing that both are only useful when they inform how you live today. The past can teach you, the future can guide you, but neither can replace the necessity of this moment. So before you rush ahead, pause. Notice your breath. Feel the weight of your body in the chair. Hear the life moving around you. This is not just a moment. This is the only place your life is actually happening. Seneca's wisdom is simple but radical. Stop treating now as practice. This is your life. Live it while it's here. Time is the one resource we cannot replenish. Every second is a coin spent, and yet most of us spend as if the vault is endless. Seneca knew better. His life, marked by both privilege and exile, by influence and danger, taught him that control over one's time is the truest form of freedom, and he left us a challenge to treat time not as background noise, but as the fabric of our very existence. Over the course of this journey, we have explored 6 ways to honor that challenge. Guard your time as fiercely as your life, because every hour you protect is a piece of your life you keep. Live as if you could die tomorrow, plan as if you'll live forever. So urgency and vision walk side by side. The discipline of saying no without guilt to keep your yes rare, deliberate, and deeply meaningful. Focus on the essential few, ignore the trivial many, to direct your days toward what truly matters. Turn routine into ritual, to infuse even ordinary minutes with presence and meaning. Own the present. It's the only time you truly possess, because life can only be lived now. When you put these into practice, time stops feeling like a current that sweeps you away. Instead, it becomes something you stand within, aware, deliberate, and alive. The truth is, we are all in the same position. We don't know how many days we have. We can't store them. We can only choose how we will spend the ones before us. And that choice, repeated, refined, honored, is what shapes a life worth living. So I leave you with a question Seneca might have asked: if you truly understood that today is one of the few you have left, how would you live it? Whatever your answer, begin now. Guard it, shape it, fill it with what matters most, because when your time is well spent, your life, no matter how long or short, will never feel wasted. If this reflection has resonated with you, consider subscribing. Each week, we explore the ideas that help us live more wisely, more deliberately, and more deeply. And I'd love to continue this journey with you. Until next time, spend your hours well.